Good morning and welcome to Member Focus Monday. I'm Christina Schaefer, Director of Social Media for HAR. March is Women's History Month, and here today to discuss women's history in real estate is Joanne Stevens, an HAR board member and past national president for WCR. Welcome to the program, Joanne.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation to be with you today.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you could take some time with us. I know you're actually about to leave for a WCR trip, which I'm sure we can talk more about later. Now, I named two titles, HAR board member and past national president, but you hold many titles within the real estate industry. So for anyone who doesn't know who you are, Joanne, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Okay, I'm happy to. You're right. I mean, I've been in real estate for a number of years, and so therefore I've had the opportunity to serve in many capacities. Currently, I do serve at HAR on the board of directors. I am also this year the co chair for political affairs. At Texas Realtors, I'm a regional vice president. I'm a TRIP trustee, and I serve on NAR strategy planning and strategic planning. And at NAR, I am what we call a federal political coordinator for Congressman Nell's District 22. So I serve on that advisory committee and also on their board of directors. So you could say I am entrenched in real estate, but for me personally, I think that it is my duty, to my clients to stay abreast of trends and things that are happening in the industry so I can better serve the consumer.
That's wonderful. And you're serving from all different perspectives, and we certainly
Yes.
appreciate that.
Oh,
So
thank
tell
you.
us, let's talk about WCR. So,
Okay.
WCR, Women's Council of Realtors. How and why was WCR founded?
Okay. Interestingly, in the late 1930s, and that's how long Women's Council's been around, you saw men going off to fight in the war.
Mm-hmm.
And women stepped into some of those positions that they had held. And in doing so, women found that real estate was a great fit. It allowed them flexibility in their schedules that they could continue to take care of the house or the home, the children. And so when the war was over and the men came back, women said, "No, I don't think I want it to go back to the way things used to be."
Mm-hmm.
And so there were a group of women leaders who started forming councils, they called them then, around the country. And it was an opportunity for women to get together, to share ideas, to network. But what you have to remember is that in the 1930s, women were barred from membership in most associations. And so coming together in these councils gave them an opportunity to exchange ideas and learn from one another. But it was actually a man who was so impressed by the work that they had done that he brought it forward to NAR. And in 1938, uh, National Association of Realtors voted that Women's Council would become a council, if you will, under the NAR umbrella. And that is where we are today. So,
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for sharing that
yeah,
history with us. What are
yeah.
the current goals of WCR? Because I'm sure the goals then in the late 1930s to now have changed over time, and so what
Mhm.
and different priorities and things like that. So, what are some of the main goals as they
Right.
stand today for WCR?
Well, I would tell you that our mission statement says that we are successful realtors advancing women as business leaders.
Mm.
And I think we work diligently towards that mission. I think you may also know that our hashtag is Leaders Made Here.
Mm.
And let me tell you how that kind of came about. In 2018, we were doing some external research for a new strategic plan.
Mm.
And we interviewed many leading individuals within the real estate industry. And the question was posed to them, when you hear women's council, what do you think of? And resoundingly, they said, you train leaders. And so at that point, we sort of sat back and said, well, if this is how the industry perceives us, it's time for us to own this. Mm-hmm. And so we did. And so one of our members in California, who is now a national leader, actually coined that hashtag, Leaders Made Here. And so I think that really sums up what we're trying to do as an organization.
That's wonderful. So in the over 80 years that WCR has been around, I'm sure there have been some significant changes. And with that in mind, how do you mm-hmm. feel groups like WCR or similar groups have really changed the way women are viewed, or how they do business in the real estate industry?
Well, I think we've made great strides in the industry. I think if you look simply at our numbers, mm-hmm. As I mentioned, as late as 1960, there were some associations that did not allow women to be members. Today, interestingly enough, women make up 67% of the realtors in the United States. So I think that is huge. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, and just for fun, I kind of did the statistics for HAR. Mm-hmm. And I was very pleasantly surprised that on our board of directors, we are equally distributed men to women. We are 50-50. But when you look at our officers, that percentage jumps to 67% women. So we're right in line with the national statistics. Mm-hmm. But yes, I think that women have made their voices heard. I think they've demonstrated their abilities, and I think they're being recognized, definitely.
So my next question for you was, do you feel there are fewer barriers now for women to succeed in real estate than there were? And it sounds like the answer is yes to that.
I would say yes. Mm-hmm. I think women have done a very good job of getting involved in their local associations and in their brokerages as mm-hmm. well. I think we see more female leadership than we have in the past. However, we still are not seeing the numbers at the executive level, within the brokerages and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And so I think we still have some more work to do there. And we're also trying to help women understand that they can be leaders, not just in their own industry, but maybe they want to serve on city council or run for public office. And everybody has a different idea what leadership is to them individually. And what we're trying to help them understand within Women's Council is that the sky's the limit. Pick your passion and go for it. So,
excellent. Thank you. If there are any questions for Joanne, you can type those into the comments and we'll get to as many of those as we can. So we were just talking about some barriers. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges that women face within the real estate industry?
Well, I think we're still very male dominated in the executive level mm-hmm. within the brokerages. I think brokerages have got to realize that their leadership needs to mirror their makeup or their associates. Mm-hmm. And I think that we are seeing more women in industry listings and receiving acclamations for their involvement. But we still need to improve that at state and national levels, if you will. But, it's also important for women to realize that they need to hone their skills, they need to raise their hand, volunteer for positions, and then maybe take a risk. Because when one woman succeeds, it inspires others to try. And whether they're shattering that glass ceiling within a corporation or climbing that corporate ladder, when a woman is successful in doing that, it does show others that there is a path for them to follow as well. And so I think you have to be an advocate for yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a comment that came in from Teresa Hill: community leadership is just as important as industry leadership. So
That is very true. Very true. And I got a lot of community leadership when I was kind of coming up, serving at my Chamber of Commerce, the uh, Greater Fort Bend Economic and Development Council. I did things within my community for charities. But a lot of that in my mind was marketing for exposure of myself as a realtor in my community. So,
yeah, very true. So let's talk about what WCR is currently working on. So what is in the works right now?
well, at the national level, Women's Council has a strategic plan, and we utilize that as our roadmap as we move forward in the organization. And actually, we are in, I guess, the second year of a 3-year plan. And one of the things that I see us moving toward is not just advancing women. I think now we are actually advocating for women. And I think that's the step we have taken. But what is important to us as an organization is that we are providing a safe environment for women to hone their skills, to speak up, to exchange ideas, to get information from colleagues around the country. But what we're trying to do is provide individual education and tools for people who want to improve not only their leadership skills, but their business as well. And I think that's the overreaching long term goal of the organization. So,
Excellent. Thank you. A question that came in from Leah. She's asking, what advice would you give new agents when they face a co-broker agent who's being condescending?
oh my goodness. I think you just have to be professional in your manners, how you speak to them. Let them know that you are working on behalf of your realtor or your client, and hopefully that attitude will change. Um, I would hope that they would not be getting that attitude from women's council members, because I think we see the need to work together. So,
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And if there are any other questions for Joanne, type those in and we'll get to as many as we can. So it's all about leadership and education with WCR, right? So tell us about some upcoming educational opportunities that there may be available for realtors and also maybe consumers, if there's anything.
okay, sure. I think if you utilize the national website, which is WCR.org, you can go onto the website and see educational programs that are being offered in the area. We are so fortunate in Houston because we actually have 6 local networks. And you can find the network that maybe is the most convenient to you, see what programs they will be offering, and then simply reach out, make a reservation, and attend. There's also, if you already attend state and national meetings, Women's Council has meetings in conjunction with those. So if you were interested in seeing what's going on at a state level, we will be meeting in August in conjunction with Texas Realtors, and in November with NAR in Boston. But there are all kinds of educational videos. We do Zoom meetings and educational offering, but the website is really the best place to get most of that information.
Excellent. And we have shared that website in
Mhm.
the chat, so anybody can
Good.
go take a look at that and find a local chapter and see where you can maybe get involved or educated. Just a comment I wanted to share here from Connie. She said, "We can all lift each other up." Love that. Good to
Correct.
good to see
Correct.
something like that on a Monday morning. Very
You
good.
bet.
Well, absolutely. So, talk to us about. You mentioned there's 6 local chapters. You can
Mhm.
get involved at the state level, like you said, also. But what are some benefits of joining WCR, and how exactly do they get involved?
Okay. I would say there are some benefits that are very tangible. For instance, the networking opportunities, the educational opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
being able to pick up the phone and call someone across the country who maybe has an expertise in an area that you're trying to improve upon. And that's the one thing you will find that is very unique to Women's Council, and it is the loyalty within the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Women's Council goes above and beyond for one another. And I would tell you they're very loyal with their referrals. And so I personally, probably 40% of my business is referrals that I receive from other Women's Council members around the country. And I would tell you that that just makes money and puts money on your bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all huge, huge benefits of the membership. But there's also a more intangible benefit that I think people can't really understand until they experience it. And that is the camaraderie. I think it is also the relationships and the friendships that you build within this organization. And you will have friendships for life. So I think it's something that if you're looking to network with professional business women, this is a great place to be.
Excellent. Yolanda just made a comment. Wow, that is a great referral system. If anybody missed that, Joanne said about 40% of her business comes from WCR referrals. If that's not a benefit, I don't know what is. That's excellent.
Exactly.
Very good. And I know we have some representatives from local chapters that are watching live right now. Feel free to type in
Great.
information about your local chapters. I see Kristen shared some information about Fort Bend.
Good.
Gabrielle Allen is sharing some chapters that are up north. I know that we have one in
Mm-hmm.
Bay Area as well.
You do.
Very good. So, yeah, please feel free to share any of that information for your local chapters in the chat as well. Well, Joanne, thank you for the overview you've given us today. I think that it's obvious that WCR has really made significant strides for women in the 80 plus years that it's been around. Is
Yes.
there anything else that you want to share with our audience today?
Well, I think just as one of the viewers said, I think it's so important that women support one another. And if you are someone who has been able to break those barriers in leadership and climb that ladder, then I think it's our responsibility to then mentor the up and coming women leaders in our industry. I think that it's important for us to help them so they don't maybe experience some of the challenges that we did along the way, and just to help them in their leadership path.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we have to support one another and remove any barriers there are to women serving. So,
Wonderful. Just a comment that I wanted to share here from Randy that I really appreciate. She said, from the outside looking in, you can't understand it. From the inside looking out, we can't describe the bond we have. Just joined Women's Council. And Kristen made a
yes,
comment that it's not just for women. So
that is true.
she said,
That
the
is
question is,
true.
are you man enough to join WCR? Very good.
Well, actually, about 10% of our overall membership is male. And I think that these are probably some of the brightest men in our industry because they have learned that they too can take advantage of the educational offerings, the networking, and we welcome them on board. So, yes.
Excellent. Very good. Well, Joanne, thank you so much for your time today. Again, everybody in the comments is thank you. They're inspired, it sounds like, and excited.
Great.
So again, remember to check out WCR.org to find a chapter near you and educational opportunities and events near you, so that you can get involved with WCR. But again, Joanne, thank you so much for your time this morning.
I am so delighted to be here, and if anybody's interested in attending a network, they can be my guest. I'd be delighted to take them. So
wonderful. Well,
just
thank
let
you
me know.
Again. Yes, very good. Well, thank you again, and that is it for this Member Focus Monday. Be sure to tune in next Monday at 9 a.m. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.